Hello, welcome to the I Live Truth podcast and channel. My name is Earl, and let's do this. So today I have what I think is going to be a really good episode for everyone. The title is Let's Talk About Satanism, or something along those lines. But today's topic is going to be about Satanism, and I am making the claim that most people in society these days are practicing the satanic religion without even knowing it, and some of them knowing it. So if you're new here, make sure to bookmark ilivetruth.com and join the Telegram channel, I Live Truth. You can just go to the web address t.me/ilivetruth, or just search for I Live Truth on Telegram. That's where you'll get where you get updated every time I post an episode. All of my videos or all of my episodes will never be on YouTube. Some of them are just not appropriate for YouTube, and the only way to get them will be through ilivetruth.com. So anyway, let's get started. So I stumbled across I was doing a lot of research on natural law, and I came across a man named Mark Passio, and he used to be a satanic priest, literally in the Church of Satan. I don't know how long he was in the Church of Satan, but I think close to like a decade or something, quite some time. And he subscribed to it, he thought it was good, and after all those years in it, he finally realized that there was a problem with it, and he got out of it and started informing people about the dark art or the dark religion, and it's fascinating stuff. That's where I got a lot of the information that I'll be presenting here today. What I found was really interesting was that Satanism has tenets, 7 main tenets that everyone who is following Satanism or subscribing to the religion of Satanism, they're basically like guidelines, what we believe and how we act, essentially. And I'm not going to be covering all these tenets today, mainly because I don't have all of them memorized, but we will be covering the most important ones. So anyway, in his episode, if you want to listen to it, it's at whatonearthishappening.com. It's episode number 71 on his podcast, and he talks about he had all the tenets on his phone, laid out in a list, and he sat down at the table with his grandmother, and he started listing them off without her knowing these are the satanic tenets, and he just started reading them off, blah, 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 and he said, "Do you agree with this?" And she'd say, yes. She agreed with almost all of them, and he said, he handed her his phone, and it showed the title, the 7 main tenets of the Satanism religion. And he says that she looked at the phone. A few seconds later, she said, "Well, I guess I'm a Satanist," and that's it. She didn't say, "Oh, wow, this is insane." But I just found that incredibly interesting and enlightening. So what are the main tenets? Okay, first, before we get into the tenets, I want to define religion, because this is classified as a religion. The Satanism is a religion. Now, the definition, there's 2 definitions to this word, and one of them is basically to tie back, to disconnect, to govern, to hold back. And an alternate definition for the word religion is to retie, to reconnect. So there's 2 different definitions, and they're literally exactly the opposite. They are inversions of one another. And it seems that most So most religions in society today, like the Catholicism and all these things, like these great institutions, they are using the first definition as their guidelines. They are holding people back. They are working to keep people from growing, from empowering themselves and reconnecting to God, to Christ. And that, like, I never really went to church, and I've mostly given up on. I will in the near future sometime check out the churches in my area, mainly like for community building, so I can start intertwining with some of the people locally. There's one very close to my house, like 2 miles, maybe even less than a mile. But I'm going to check it out, even though I'm not very hopeful about it. It seems that most people in churches are just hypocrites. They preach and they do the exact opposite. Still watching their pornos, still just not being good people, not living like Christ, not even trying to live like Christ. But so anyway, yeah, the two definitions. One is to tie back, to hold back, to thwart, and the other definition is to retie, to reconnect with God, with Christ, with Spirit. And so the main tenet is to identify with the ego mind, the notion that you are your thoughts, and that's it. Your thoughts, your body. You just there's no connectedness. Essentially, you are separate. You are separate from everybody else, and you don't basically have any desire to worry about anybody's well-being. And we all know that is not very helpful, if you're trying to grow or be in community. Also, with that, the only things that matter, the only reality is basically what can be detected with our material senses, taste, touch, smell, sight. Also, it's just complete materialism, like nothing spiritual exists, essentially. And that's what religions, the ones that are meant to tie back, that's what their viewpoint is, and it's just not helpful. Another one is that death is the cessation of consciousness for all time. Like, once you die, that's it. There is no afterlife. There is no reason to grow your spirituality, your spiritual self. There is no point in worrying about anything that is immaterial. And another one of the main tenets is that there is no objective right and wrong, moral relativism. If there is no higher authority, like God, or at the least natural law, if you don't believe that there are objective right and wrong, like for instance, killing somebody because they have something you want, if you don't believe that is wrong to kill somebody and to gain material things, then it's just insane. I had a conversation with somebody on Gab today, and they were talking. It was on a post about LGBTQ, and I said, well, it starts with the first two of the acronym. It starts. He was blaming the parents essentially, yet still not addressing the cause. The cause is that when something like marriage between a man and a woman becomes inverted, and people are saying that it's okay for two men or two women to be married to each other, that is where it starts. The Bible has very specific rules. It lists what is right and wrong, and to disregard that is not only an inversion, but that's Satanism. Without some authority, this is prominent in atheists, in the New Age movement. Essentially, most of it teaches that you are God. You're your own God. And while this may be sort of true, depending on how you look at it, yes, you get to make decisions in your life. Yes, you can do things for yourself, but that's not all there is. There's something else. The fact that the sun comes up in the morning and goes down at night, or that a seed grows a tree, a specific tree, that's something else. You're not doing that. There is some form of intelligence above us, obviously, because you didn't create yourself. And it's just, without realizing that, understanding that, and accepting that there is a higher authority, you don't have a basis in any of your reality. Without the notion that there's a creator or something above you, you ultimately are your own God. And that is a precursor or a prerequisite to a society like we have currently. I think all of it has started because people started disregarding right and wrong. They started saying, "Oh, well, that's my truth. That's your truth. That's we can both be right. Both of us can have truths that differ from each other." That makes absolutely no logical sense. Truth is what is. Just because you want to be let off the hook, or you want to not be held accountable for the immorality that you have, it doesn't mean that there is no right or wrong. It's wrong to tell women that they are pursuing an American dream to live in a cubicle forever and have abortions. That's not right. That's wrong. It's torture. It's complete inversion. That is Satanism. So moral relativism, there is no objective right and wrong, identification with the ego mind, and death is the cessation of consciousness. Those are fundamental for Satanism. Those things conflict with the teachings of the Bible, with a true religion. However, it is still a religion, but with our current definitions, it's a false religion. And it's just not good. It's not a good thing. And so, like I was talking about Mark Passio's grandmother, most people think that they are the most important thing. I don't care what kind of consequences my actions have for others, as long as it puts me ahead. As long as I get a gain, I receive a gain from my actions. It doesn't matter what happens to everybody else. That is a problem. And without morality, you cannot have a good society. And a lot of people, I had a conversation with one of the supervisors at my work long ago. We were talking about something, I don't remember what. I think a man who was portraying themselves as the opposite. I'm gonna try and avoid the trigger words, but and he said, "What is wrong with people?" And I said, "There's no morality. No, they have no morals. They were brought up with no morals." Somebody's got a really loud radio behind me, so I apologize. You should still be able to hear me. But anyway, yeah, I was saying that they don't have morals. That's the problem. And he's like, oh, morals. Like, he just completely shrugged it off. Like, oh, what are morals? Morals are just... He just backs... Like, he just completely avoided addressing it. And I've had the same... With the same supervisor, I had other conversations with him where I was talking about the Bible. And he said something about the Vatican and all this stuff, and I said, well, they only have power if you give it to them. They only, you have to consent. And, oh, no, they're controlling us, blah, blah, blah. No, they're not, I dropped the conversation there. I didn't really have time or the energy to elaborate on it further. But anyway, most people are raised with these tenets as their guidelines. It's a problem, and I don't think most people are intentionally being like this. I think they just think this is the way it has. This is normal. This is good, and even practicing Christians and people of other so-called faiths, they just are completely inverted, and I don't really know how else to put it, but it's a problem. It's not good to be a Satanist, and the reason why this is the prevalent religion, most people aren't like, oh yeah, I'm a Satanist, great. It's just this is what's being pushed on society, and the reason why it's being pushed on society is you can never grow. You're stunted. Your growth is stunted. You're essentially a slave. This is the religion of slaves, and the powerful corporations and people running these corporations and steering the world, or presenting recommendations for the world. They know this, they're pushing this, and there just can be no overall growth with a life like this, with a viewpoint like this, with a belief system like this. And the only way forward, to get through this stuff is to address these things at the cause. That's why my goal is to educate my children in these things, and my family, and the people around me, that there is rules. There is a way of living that we're supposed to be doing. If you don't want to be a slave, that is. It's perfectly fine if people want to be slaves. It's not for me. I'm doing my best to avoid it, to get out of it, because I am currently still a slave in most aspects. And that's why it's so important to get right with God, and to look at yourself and become willing to say, all right, well, I was wrong. What's next? How do I get over this? How do I grow from this? And, I've had a lot of issues in the past. I still do have issues. I'm not perfect. And the important part, I think, is the willingness to face the fact that I'm not perfect, I'm not perfect, and that's one of the reasons why I'm doing this, is because I don't think most people understand this or know this. When I heard this podcast, episode 71 of What on Earth is Happening, the podcast there, I was just blown away. If you don't have, and this goes back to the video I posted, my previous video, where I'm talking about the importance of a stable, steady foundation. That's what the herders, that's what the evil shepherds want. They want people to be unstable, to have no foundation, to have no basis. They want just chaos. Out of chaos comes control. And the only way that you're susceptible to it is, first, if you don't know. And if you do know and you just keep living the way they want you to live, then there can be no growth. And it's a hard pill to swallow, to hear that you're practicing literally the dark religion. And it's just like the situation with my family. My girlfriend and I have almost split up many times recently, and my daughter is displaying signs of psychological issues because of the behavior of her parents, of my girlfriend and I. What we've modeled for them. And it's a hard pill to swallow. Oh man, I really screwed up. And denial is one of the worst possible things there is. If you can't admit and identify and accept that you are doing something that's incorrect, it's just ignorance. And like I said before, no growth can come from it. So with that, I'll recap real quick. So some of the few fundamental tenets for the satanic religion are identification with the ego mind, the death is the ultimate cessation of consciousness, and moral relativism, where there is no right or wrong. You get to make that up. And it's just a really bad situation if people continue ignoring it. So with that, I'm going to end this episode. If you thought what I talked about was interesting or useful or helpful, or you just want to support my journey, then subscribe, like, comment, definitely share. That'll help a lot. And consider donating. There's a form at ilivetruth.com, and you can donate with debit card, with whatever. So also make sure you subscribe to the I Live Truth Telegram group and bookmark ilivetruth.com. Hope everyone's having a good day, and let's get the word out and let's grow. See you later.